Where there should be nothing, there is everything.
We are not of your math.
How long can you stare into the void before it starts to stare back? Mission objective: to study the anomaly of Meridian 5. From a distance, it appears unremarkable. A dead world, geologically inert for billions of years. Its core, cold and silent. But it harbored a profound secret. A magnetic field, vast and impossibly complex, without any apparent source. A ghost in the machine. A vast, intricate structure with nothing to sustain it. The clean sound of the drone's cold gas thrusters firing in a vacuum.
To find answers, we had to get closer.
The surface was, as the scans predicted, barren, silent, and unchanging. How could a dead planet generate such a magnificent living field? This was the paradox of Meridian. To understand the field, we needed to observe it without the interference of direct sunlight. As the probe entered the planet's shadow, a new mystery revealed itself. A ghost dance of light on a world that should have none. The auroral patterns were impossibly complex, more intricate than any known natural phenomenon.
We attempted to map the field's structure during the display.
And for the first time, the field seemed to notice us. Analysis confirmed our suspicions. The light display was not chaotic. It was a message, repeated over and over. A signal in the night.
We were not observing a weather pattern. We were observing a mind at work.
The repeating pattern was undeniable. It was not a natural phenomenon. It was a signal.
But was it a signal for us? Or simply a monologue we happened to overhear?
There was only one way to find out. We decided to talk back. We transmitted the simplest sign of intelligence we know: prime numbers. An artificial thought cast into a mind of light. The reaction was not what we expected. The dance stopped. The song fell silent.
A stillness fell over the ghost. A silence that felt like a held breath.
It was no longer just aware of us.
It was now focused on us. We had knocked on the door of a god. Now, we could only wait to see what would answer.
It wasn't an attack. It was a gesture. An invitation.
The ghost wanted us to see, to understand. We had no choice but to accept. The beam led us down, into a chasm perfectly carved from the planet's crust. A wound not made by nature.
At the heart of the canyon,
we found not a geological feature, but a lock.
A door, waiting for a visitor who had finally arrived. The way back was sealed. The tomb had accepted its first visitor in 1,000,000 years.
Before us lay a hall built for giants and a silence to match. The corridor ended not at an engine room or a bridge, but at a doorway that felt different. It opened onto a space built for mourning, a hall of remembrance. Not cryopods for the living, but sarcophagi, a library of the lost. Not a handful of explorers, not a single ship's crew. A nation, a species. Each tomb, not merely a vessel for the dead, but a final, fading echo of a life once lived. And at the exact center of this silent city, the probe detected a single, faint anomaly. The path to the anomaly was lined with tombs of a different kind, more ornate, more revered. Here lay not the citizens, but the architects, the minds that had conceived the Great Escape. The light was not a memorial flame. It was a status indicator. The terminal was still active. By connecting to the terminal, we did not simply download a file. We awoke the library.
And the library began to speak. Not in words, but in memories.
A vision of their world, as it was.
A civilization at its peak, facing the final, universal truth.
Their star, their source of life, had become their executioner. Physical escape was impossible. Every simulation ended in failure. Their physics had reached its limit, so they conceived a different escape, not of body, but of mind, to translate their entire civilization into a single, immortal thought.
They spent their final generations not building an ark for the stars, but a machine to house a ghost.
When the machine was ready, they began their final migration, not a forced march, but a pilgrimage.
Each mind, each memory, each soul.
Unwritten from flesh and rewritten in light, a new form of life, born at the exact moment its world died. The record ended, a story of 1,000,000 years, told in a moment. And then, there was only the silence. They were not just bodies. They were the anchors, the physical memory of a consciousness that had learned to fly. Our mission inside the tomb was complete. It was time to leave the dead to their slumber. A star in a bottle, a power source that defied our understanding of thermodynamics, stable, silent, and eternal. And from this heart, great arteries of power reached out, feeding the ghost, sustaining the memory of billions. And then, we understood. This was not a tomb with a power source. This was a power source that wore a tomb as its monument. The story had been told, but the engine of that story was still running. The ghost wanted us to see its heart. This was not a place of remembrance. This was a place of function, the arteries of the machine. And at the end, we found the furnace, the undying star they had built for themselves.
The mission was complete. The question had been answered. It was time to return to the living.
To leave this place felt like closing a book on a history that no one else would ever read.
The ghost had waited. It knew we had seen its heart.
The tomb was sealed once more, its secrets now shared with a silent, distant witness. The paradox was solved. We had not found a god. We had found a chorus of souls. Now, it was time to listen to their song.
The response was not a sound, nor a word.
It was a creation, a thought given form. The field reshaped itself, weaving a structure of impossible geometry. And within it, a new message. Not of primes, but of a mathematics far...
Not of primes, but of a mathematics far beyond our own. The orchestra and choir swelled to a massive emotional peak.
For a moment, this dead world wore a crown of pure consciousness.
An answer so profound, its only meaning was that we were incapable of understanding it.
The display ended as suddenly as it began.
We came here to study a magnetic field. We leave, having encountered a mind.
A consciousness without a body, without chemistry, without life as we define it. It poses the ultimate question. What else is out there, hiding in plain sight?
The record ended. A story of 1,000,000 years, told in a moment.
They were not just bodies. They were the anchors, the physical memory of a consciousness that had learned to fly. Our mission inside the tomb was complete. It was time to leave the dead to their slumber.
To leave this place felt like closing a book on a history that no one else would ever read. The ghost had waited. It knew we had seen its heart. The paradox was solved.
The ghost
we had
had
not
waited.
found a god.
It
we had
knew
found a
we had
chorus of
seen its
souls.
heart.
Now,
The
it
paradox
was time
was
to listen
solved.
to their song.